Hello and welcome back to my channel, and in today's review I'm going to be taking a look at the eagerly anticipated Wei Jiang / Black Apple Commander Thunder Leader, aka an MPM Optimus Prime, based on his appearance from the Transformers 2007 movie. Before I begin this review, I first of all want to say that if you are in the market for picking this figure up, and why wouldn't you be, this is by far the best version of Optimus Prime that we have ever got, at least one that can transform, then I definitely recommend that you should check out Showzi's store, and for that there will be links down in the description box below where you can pick up this figure as well as the wide range of other collectibles all featured over at Showzi's store. Now back to this review. Now this figure looks absolutely incredible, and I'm so glad that I held off on all of the upscaled, slight improvements made to the original MPM Optimus Prime. I know that there were some Black Mamba versions, there were some Wei Jiang versions, but I missed out on all of them, and I'm so glad that I finally picked this version up, as I definitely think out of all of the upscales and KOs, this is by far the best version. This is almost a completely brand new sculpt. It merely shares some of the engineering cues from that MPM Optimus Prime, and this is what we should have got from the beginning by Hasbro and Takara Tomy. Enough rambling on now, let's take a detailed look at the figure in his truck mode. Now I may be slightly biased in this review, as this version of Optimus Prime is definitely my favorite design. This was the version that I grew up with, and to see it replicated in such an accurate format really is incredible. As you can see, we've got an amazing chromed out grille with the different blue lights at the bottom. I love that we've actually got these sections here on the side. I do believe that is the first time that any Optimus Prime based on the Peterbilt semi-truck has ever had. We've got the front headlights here. We've got an emblem of where the Autobot insignia should be. I absolutely love the orange fade that fades into the red of the front of the truck, with the fantastic blue flame detailing all the way throughout, with the white pinstripes obviously to highlight the details. The hubcaps are in fact painted in a really nice silver paint, and the tyres are in fact plastic, not rubber as some may expect. Turning to these air filters, as you can see, these two have been done in an amazing silver chrome, and I love the reflective blue paint that they've got onto the sides. I do believe that these do actually light up on the actual vehicle, so that is an amazing attention to detailing. The sun visor at the top also has got a magnificent silver chrome finish over the top. I love the side view mirrors on this figure as well. It is incredibly detailed. It almost looks as if though it is a model truck as opposed to an actual transformable figure, and once again we can clearly see the iconic movie Optimus Prime flames going all the way along the side of the cab. We've got all these different ridges, which is a fantastic attention to detail. We've got where the stairs would come down. We've actually got chromed out smokestacks, which once again have been detailed incredibly well, and I love how the smokestack actually comes and plugs into the step. It really does look like a very coherent piece. These gas canisters along the side, these two have been given that same silver chrome finish, and I think that they look amazing for it. When you turn around now to the back section has been given a silver paint application, and you can pick out some lovely detailing such as where the trailer would in fact plug on. Unfortunately, I cannot find any trailer that can actually house on this figure. It would be amazing to get this figure with a trailer, so I really do hope that Wei Jiang / Black Apple remold this into a Dark of the Moon version, and perhaps give us a deluxe edition that actually comes with his fantastic chrome trailer. As you can see, these mud flaps or mud guards at the back have also got the fantastic flame detailing with the white pinstripes on the back, and then when you flip around we've got the rear lights of the vehicle. This section has been detailed incredibly well, and I love how they've actually once again painted the back mud flaps in a blue type of paint. Now the only criticism that I have with this figure in its vehicle mode is that unfortunately the back two set of wheels unfortunately do not roll whatsoever. They are incredibly stiff, and that is due to a really awesome engineering aspect that I'll showcase when we get into the robot mode. They are incredibly stiff. Whilst they can roll, they really are not very free rolling whatsoever. So if you do roll this figure, he is literally just rolling on these two front wheels, and the rest of the wheels are dragging along the ground, which is a shame. It may just be an isolated issue on my copy. Perhaps I could maybe fix it by loosening these joints, but I really do not want to compromise the whole engineering aspect of the wheels, as there is actually quite a complex mechanism that goes goes on with these wheels in order to compress them for robot mode. So just giving you a last 360 look at the vehicle mode itself. Once again, I'm astonished with how much detailing has gone into this vehicle. It really does look incredible and is so impressive. Flipping it over now to the underside, as you can see, it is very reminiscent of the MPM Optimus Prime, the way that the legs fold up and the way that the wheels situate. However, this time Wei Jiang / Black Apple have actually engineered a way for us to store the energon blades on the underside of the vehicle, and from a side view you honestly wouldn't notice them. Now this figure also comes with two more accessories, that being Optimus Prime's two ion blasters that we see him use in both the first movie as well as Revenge of the Fallen. And now you would not believe me if I told you that those blasters are actually this section here, this whole smokestack section here, as well as this piece here. They do in fact hide inside the gas canister, and they become this piece, this bottom piece here, as well as this section. That is an amazing piece of engineering, and I'm absolutely astonished with how well done this figure is. This really is, in my eyes, the most definitive representation of a transformable movie Optimus Prime. Now, the only figure that I have transformed in his vehicle mode is the Dark of the Moon Studio Series Optimus Prime, and this just gives you a rough comparison of how this truck mode scales up with another Voyager class figure. As you can see, he is absolutely enormous. He's almost roughly even bigger than Leader class. I'd say that he's more in the same lines as the Commander class Jetfire from the recent Transformers Siege toy line. He really is an enormous figure and completely dwarfs Voyager classes. However, if you've got some of the old Revenge of the Fallen Human Alliance figures, I'm sure that he'll look absolutely fantastic posed alongside those. However, it is the robot mode that this figure shines even more. Now, turning to this figure's transformation, I am not lying when I tell you that the first two times I transformed this figure from robot mode to vehicle mode and vehicle mode back to robot mode, it took me an hour for each way to go. This really is an extremely complex transforming figure. Not only do you have to worry about the core robot transformation, but as I stated, these entire pieces here come out and actually become Optimus's ion blasters, which in itself has got the engineering level of a Studio Series Deluxe class figure. You really have to have one of these figures in person to really gather a sense of how complicated they are, and I've definitely got to say, out of all of my Optimus Primes, this by far takes the cake for being the most complicated. So I'm going to be showing you the transformation process in a slightly different way than normal. I'm going to be trying to do it as elegant as I possibly can. However, due to how big this figure's size is, I do apologise if some of the segments do not look as clean as others. And after an incredibly complex transformation from vehicle mode to robot mode, here we have the Wei Jiang slash Black Apple Commander Thunder Leader, aka movie 2007 Optimus Prime, in his magnificent looking robot mode. This figure is absolutely a sight to behold, and as I stated previously, is by far the best representation that we have ever got for a movie Optimus Prime. To begin with, of course, we're going to start off with taking a look at the details, and the head sculpt is just absolutely incredible. This is really where you can see some fantastic sculpt work as well as some amazing paint work going on here. It really does look absolutely tremendous, and I've got to say something, the chrome looks amazing in the robot mode. It looks just as good in the robot mode as it did in the vehicle mode. As you can see, there is so much detail on this figure, so many different paint apps on it as well. It really is remarkable, and if I wasn't professional, this would definitely turn into a gust fest. So let's just look at the shoulder piece. As you can see, the way that these air filters do come up onto the shoulders, I absolutely love the way how the panels on the arms streamline and make an exceptionally coherent looking forearm. I love these blue sections here that seem to prong off to the sides. We've got some fantastic gold highlights in the top section of Optimus's shoulder. There's so much detail going on in the chest as well. As you can see on these red sections, there is a nice mix of red plastic and black paint apps in order to highlight some of the surface detailing on there. And as you can see, this whole section too has been detailed really nicely, and this is in fact die cast, much like the MPM version, however has been given a much more premium finish. And then as we work our way down to the base of the legs, I love the different weathering effects that they've applied to the legs here. It really does look incredibly impressive, and the silver paint apps on the thighs with the black speckles over the top really does help to give a very worn and weathered appearance to the character. And as you can see, we've got a gold rim around where the knee joint would be, and on the inside of the thigh as well, there is just so much different mechanical detailing. I love how they've actually painted in these type of spring suspension joints in there as well in a nice gold paint. We've got some gold paint around this circular section as well as some gold wiring in the base of the foot. When you turn around to the front of the thigh, once again, these are die cast, but they've got some nice gold paint in them, and the finish on this figure really does look very impressive, as you can see from a side profile as well. And even the feet have also been painted incredibly well with a fantastic weathered and finished effect. We can see the compression that the wheels do in fact take from their vehicle mode. If you watch the transformation segment, you will see how genius the transformation of these wheels are and the engineering that went into them. And turning around to the back, I like the subtle details such as the reversal of the rear plate of the vehicle, and it becomes this back section of Optimus. And we've got to just take a look at the back and how well this all tidies up. As you can see, it is incredibly flush and looks exactly how it did in the movie. Wei Jiang slash Black Apple really have done an absolute incredible job of giving the best looking Optimus Prime to us collectors. And as you can see on the back here as well, amazing paint job with all the different individual details. I honestly could be going over every single aspect of this figure, how we would be here all day long, but as I'm sure you're able to tell, this figure does look absolutely remarkable. Now, as well as being incredibly detailed, this figure also has some absolute phenomenal articulation. There are so many joints on this figure that you can really express him in whatever way you so choose. To begin with, the head is on a swivel joint as well as a hinge joint. So the hinge joint allows it to look up and down, and the swivel joint allows it to look left and right. It would have been fantastic if this could have in fact been on a ball joint, as you would have been able to express him in a lot more ways. However, due to the face mechanism, that when you actually lift the faceplate up, you can rotate it around and expose Optimus without the mouth guard. And once again, this is something that carries over from the original MPM, but I think that the details on this version are vastly superior, and it really does look amazing. The arms are on ratchet joints, so can ratchet forwards 360 as well as hinge out to the sides. This whole shoulder section is on its own independent joint, so we'll maneuver out of the way to accommodate those more exaggerated poses. There is a 360 rotation in the middle of the bicep, as well as a over 90-degree bend on a single joint. It is almost as if though this is a double joint on a single joint, which is absolutely incredible. The hands can rotate 360 as well as hinge inwards and outwards. You can also individually articulate every single finger on this figure. As you can see, it is articulated at 2 different points, and you can maneuver all of them around in whatever way you so choose. The thumb is on its own independent ball joint as well as a hinge joint, so you really do get a great range of motion out of the fingers. Turning to the waist joint, if you elongate the legs, so just pulling those down just like so, you do in fact get a fantastic waist joint out of the figure and a semi ab crunch. I'm not entirely sure whether this is intentional or not, but you can actually get the figure to crunch forwards and backwards. The legs can ratchet out to about that degree before being prevented by the chest section. It can ratchet backwards to that far. It can hinge out to about that far, which is fantastic. There is a rotation in the middle of the figure's thigh. There is a double joint at the knee, however it really only bends to about 90 degrees before being stopped by this section here. And finally, for the feet, they are on hinge joints, so they can hinge forward as well as side to side. So overall, for articulation, considering how complex the transformation is and how well detailed he is in the robot mode, I definitely think Wei Jiang / Black Apple have done a magnificent job in really finding a fantastic balance between both detail and articulation. Turning now to accessories, the figure does in fact include an alternate face. This is so that if you don't keep wanting to continuously rotate the faceplate back and forth in order to get the different looks, you can swap it out for this piece, and it is all integral to one face. You simply just have to rotate the mouth guard to the back and you expose the mouth guardless face with some phenomenal detailing. This is a really nice accessory that they didn't have to include and gives you options when displaying or posing the figure's face around. The figure also comes with a pair of energon swords, obviously the same energon swords that we saw in the first movie as well as Revenge of the Fallen. These two have been detailed incredibly well with some Cybertronian hieroglyphs and a fantastic yellow type of plastic which is actually transparent, which is really nice and definitely does give you the look as if though there is energon flowing within these swords. And then, as you saw earlier, the sides of the truck do actually transform into 2 different ion blasters. As you can see, the level of detailing on these is just absolutely remarkable, considering that they are in fact formed out of vehicle mode components. This is an exceptional piece of engineering, and I really think the designers have managed to capture the look of Optimus's ion blaster from Revenge of the Fallen incredibly well. I love the different tubes, the different exhausts on here, and I think that the detail on the end of the barrel too is really well done. Once again, he does in fact come with one complete set, so you can actually have him posed with both cannons. Integration for the cannons is extremely straightforward. There is a tab on the handle section that does just plug into the port, so you just want to get the fingers wrapped around in that joint, align this up and snap this into place just like so, and then wrap the fingers and the thumb around, and there we have Optimus wielding one of his ion blasters, and I definitely think that this is an absolute fantastic look. And then in order to insert the energon blades, you want to remove this section and open it out just like so. That will expose a slight tab there that the peg on the energon swords will actually plug into, so you can just snap that into place. I do believe I have got the wrong one on. Just snapping that into place. You have to make sure that you've aligned it appropriately, snapping that into place and then realigning the side of the arm. Here we have Prime with an energon sword, and I think that this is absolutely fantastic, and the integration of the blades is actually better than on the official MPM. You no longer have to hinge the hands inwards, they can sit flush along the blade, which was definitely more movie accurate. But it doesn't stop there. This figure also has the matrix of leadership, however it is slightly more difficult to get to than previous figures. You simply just have to open the chest just like so and pull this piece down, and then this piece should in theory pull out. However, once again, it is incredibly difficult to open and you'll probably end up pulling the entire chamber section out. But just bringing this down, as you can see, there we have the die-cast matrix of leadership. I'm not going to remove it as it is exactly the same sculpt as the original MPM Optimus, and then just concealing that up is exactly the same as the previous version. So snapping that up and pulling the chest joints in just like so. That is how you access the matrix of leadership. And then for some movie masterpiece comparisons, here I have the entire official MPM Autobot cast compared next to the Wei Jiang Jiang slash Black Apple Optimus Prime, as well as the upscaled Model Wizard MPM Megatron. I think that the scale here is absolutely perfect. This figure is definitely a vast improvement over the original MPM Optimus Prime. He is a lot taller than that original version, and I think scales with the rest of the Autobots a lot better. He's also in fantastic scale with the Model Wizard upscaled Megatron, and I have no problem whatsoever in saying that that Optimus Prime and that Megatron are the definitive representations of the 2007 characters in my movie collection. So that has been my review on the Wei Jiang slash Black Apple Commander Thunder, aka the movie masterpiece 2007 Optimus Prime. If you haven't guessed by this review, this is a phenomenal figure. This is definitely by far the most accurate representation we have ever got for the 07 movie Prime, at least one that can transform. This figure looks phenomenal in his truck mode. It really does look as if though it is a miniature die-cast vehicle. The transformation is incredibly complex. It definitely does evoke to that masterpiece quality, and the robot mode is just absolutely incredible. If you were to hold this next to the CGI model, they would be incredibly close, at least as close as a transforming figure can be. Now, as I stated, if you are in the market for picking this figure up, then I definitely recommend that you should check out Showz's store, and for that there will be links down in the description box below. Be sure to let me know also down in the comment section below what you thought of this review, and be sure to let me know what you think of this Black Apple Optimus Prime. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until my next video, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.